So I'm getting a ton of deals thrown at me from all different directions, and many of them are really, really bad deals where people just have not done the math and the numbers and don't fully understand everything that goes into a flip deal or a buy and hold deal. So I'm here to give you guys the information on how to set the record straight and be able to make sure that you do the right math when you're doing a flip deal. Okay. Now, you start off any flip, you're going to start off with what is your market value. You're going to work everything backwards to get to your purchase price. Okay. Not necessarily what you might think, but the best way to do it is to work backwards to come up with the highest price that you're willing to pay for this property, to make sure it hits the numbers for you, to make sure you're hitting your right margins, you're being conservative on your numbers, and you're protected as you go through this. So you're starting off with your market value. You got to pick up comps that are in the same comparable to your actual subject property. A lot of people pick things that are across the street, or different property types, or different layouts, or different quality of work, or outside of maybe a half mile or a quarter mile away from your property, which might be a completely different neighborhood. So you really want to be able to go through and make sure you pick those right comps. Then you're coming up with your estimated market value. You can get those comps on the MLS, or sometimes on Redfin or Zillow or other data sites that you can pick up. MLS typically has the best comps available to be able to choose from and take a look at it. And that's what appraisers use when they're qualifying your buyer on the back end. So making sure you have MLS comps available is key to being able to get that thing qualified for financing on the back end for your buyer. So you're coming in and saying, hey, market value, here's my market value minus commissions, minus closing costs, minus inspection items as well, coming to your gross profit. We always include inspection items because they come up. We always go get our inspections before we even take them to market, so that we know about those items up front before a buyer even sees it, because those are the things that stop a buyer from moving forward. Those are the things that scare a buyer, where something might be a couple $1,000 expense, but in reality, that buyer looks at it and that's a $10,000 to $20,000 fear in their mind, because they don't necessarily know what the cost of these items are. So allocate for those inspection items, get your inspection reports up front. So market value minus commissions, minus closing costs, minus inspection items comes to your gross profits. Next, you are going to subtract your profit. So if you want to make a 15% margin, if you're selling the property for $100,000 and you want to make $15,000 on that flip, just to give you a rounded number and a 15% margin, then you're going to subtract that 15,000 out of your total cost. Then you're going to take out the renovation. Then you're going to take out your interest costs, your utilities costs, your property tax costs during the renovation term. You're going to take out your closing costs, your insurance costs, title costs, and also renovation buffers, because inflation is through the roof right now. You want to make sure you have those things covered. Cover a little bit of extra interest buffer, because if you think a project's going to take 6 months because of supply chain issues, it might take you 8 now. Windows may take you 3 months to get it in some cases, or appliances or other specialty items. So budget for that. Be conservative right now on your numbers. So you're subtracting all of these costs, and after you subtracted, you're going to end up with an end number, and that is your purchase price. If your numbers don't work, then don't buy it. Okay, period. Don't be emotional about it. Just focus on that bottom line number. And if it's not working, with you being conservative and smart on your market values and being able to be conservative on them, especially right now when rates have risen, it's important to be able to go through and make sure that you do these numbers right. Now, on a rental perspective, another quality thing to really focus on. A lot of people do their math wrong and they end up in a negative cash flow situation. Okay, so you need to be careful with this, because these expenses do come up, even if you don't think they're going to come up right away. So you come up with your market rents based on comps in the area, in that same general area, same bed and bath, same quality of work, all of that stuff. You can get MLS comps, you can get them online, same thing. Then you're going to take your market rents. You're going to subtract the vacancy allowance, usually 5 to 10%. If you're including bad debts, maybe another couple percent there, minus your management fees, minus property taxes, minus insurance, minus a repairs allowance. You always have the vacancy and the repairs allowance. And even if you're not spending them, you put them aside in a side account so you can get a more even cash flow stream. Okay, so you're going through and taking all these items out. You're taking out your CapEx. So if your roof needs to be replaced in 10 years, then you're going through and backing and saying, hey, what is my cost of my roof in 10 years? Let me divide that by 10 years, divided by 12 months. And that's how much money you're going to pull out of your cash flow to put aside for that roof. So that way you have the money sitting there when that major expense item comes up. And you do that for your HVAC system, your roof, your plumbing, your electrical, your appliances, your water heaters, all the major systems. Okay. And come up with your CapEx for your project. Then you subtract your mortgage payment if you have one, and then you're going through and coming up with your net income associated with that property. And you take that net income, you divide it by your total cost, and that is your net cash flow return on investment. Now, keep in mind, you got another couple percent coming in return on investment from principal reduction if you have a loan, and as well as the inflation aspect of those rents of the market value of that asset over the long term, making sure that you can withstand that downside as well. So don't leverage too much. Make sure that you have a nice, steady, long-term cash flow that you can count on and pay for your expenses so that you can retire and be financially free instead of always seeing volatility in your cash flow streams. I hope this helps you guys. And so that way I don't get any more bad deals sent to me anymore. But thank you guys so much. And I hope this helps. And let me know if you guys have any comments or feedback or have any other questions for me, and I'd be glad to help. Talk to you soon.